I've had a bit of delivery today. Got a couple of lengths of box. These are 40mm by 25s, and they're gonna reinforce this back plate right where the suspension is. Both right where the suspension is, this end down there, and this end down the middle of that brace. So that will flatten all the back off and give it some structure. And then from this box up to the corner of that box, I'm going to put some triangles in as well, and then that will make it super strong. So that'll be the back end in, and then I can take the crossbar out that's been in temporarily for a long time. Then I've just got to I'm going to make this bit of bodywork here where the old inner panel fitted. I'm going to make that look the same that side, so that I can fit inner panels that side. All of this will get flattened off and get carpeted at a later date, so that'll all look nice. And then they'll have quite a big partial shaft over the back of there. So now I'm just going to chop these bits up, get them welded in. I'm not going to fully weld them, there's no point. So when I take the chassis off, I'll be able to get in there properly with the welders and do a proper job of it. So for now, they just all get tacked into place, make it look strong. Well, I've chopped those up, made them as good a fit in the corners as you possibly can. They're all square, and I'll get those welded in nicely. And then from up in this corner up here to down to there, I'll put a strong brace in, gets me a nice triangle, as I said in the other video. And then that's, I think, the bulkhead pretty much done, like strength wise. I am going to pick up, as a sand racing friend of mine told me, pick up from a triangle, so that strong point we've just put in down to here. Let's get the frame horns, make sure they don't bend under the weight, because they tend to dip down. So I'll get that from there to up in that corner sorted out. Other than that, I'm happy with that. That's not too bad. Just gonna sort out the one from this corner now. I'll chop that up and show you that fitting. Right, I've welded the bracing in, as you can see. Just tacked it all together, squared it all up. This side's in. A little bit to do over there, but I'm running out of time tonight, so I've just put this side on. Put the rear end in. It's hanging now all on its own. I've got to put the other drive shafts in. These are Beetle, and I'm using type 2, which is an inch longer, which will take up that inch. So I'll put those in a later date. Just getting a bit of show on now. So I've put the back end together. All looks good to me. I was thinking just sitting it on the floor to see where everything lies. In fact, I think I will sit it on the floor, see everything lies. I'll be back with you in a second. I'll put it on the floor. Well, that's how it's sitting at the moment. There's about 4 inches underneath it. I've done a bit of research, and a few people are saying 2 inches is plenty. So I'm going to bring it down that extra couple of inches, but I'm building in some adjustability at the back end. My adjustability, basically, you've got the spring plate there, and then I'm going to put another end here, so that my adjustable rod between the two can set the height of the back end of the car. And I'll build adjustments in at the front as well. I've just got my split bones out, which I made a long time ago now. About 4 years ago I made these, and I don't like the ends here. For some reason I made them in Imperial. I've now got some, just making a mess. So I'm putting new rod ends on my split bones, and that radius is just a little bit smaller than my opening. So I put a little pie slice in. I've grooved it 45 degrees so the weld can get right in there. Done the same at the bottom, and then when I pinch this together I can weld it all up, leave a little bit of a gap there and fill it full of weld, nice and strong. So I'm just going to do that now, and then we can start mocking up the front end. Now the back end's pretty much where it needs to be, so I'll give that a bit of weld. So I put a little tack on one side in the vise, and then clamped it in the vise good and tight, little tack in the other side, and then I've just beaten it to close up that gap, which I can now put a bit of weld in, and do the same the other side, only enough to sort of hold it in place, and then I can do a finish welding pass all the way around. Should be good and strong. I know I can just drill that out there so that I can actually get the weld all the way to the base, like, which is worth doing, given the strength what you need in that sort of. So I put a weld right in there, and then that is fixed to that at more than one point, more than just around there. It's fixed to it halfway down, so that'll be a lot better. I'll do that now. I'll make the hole, and then I'll get it welded up. Right, drilled the hole, as you can see, all the way through to the base metal, and then I can get a really good weld into there, weld this up, weld all the way around, and then that'll be a nice strong joint. You can see. I'll get on with some welding now. Just done the same on the other side. Drilled a hole, put a weld in the hole, and then weld round. I'll show you it's finished in a minute. Right, back out in the cold. Monday morning. I've put the radius rods on the beam, just pinned them in. Just going to try and work out what I'm going to do with this area. I'd like to make a little hatch there to make the battery accessible, but for now I think I'll plate it all over so it looks nice. Get rid of all this rust here, get all the strength put back in it, get the rest of the heater channel cut out and replaced with the box, and then I've got to continue on this part here which goes underneath the door and make that look nice all the way up to the front. So I've got a bit to do today, and then we've got to find a pickup point for this part of the suspension. So down here I need to make a pickup point. I've got some nice thick steel. I'm going to replace this panel with 2.5mm, so that old panel disappears, and then with all that new, with all the strength down there, I'll put some nice bracing triangles from here up, and then form a little cup for that to sit in. So that's what I'm going to be doing this morning. Sort of finishes off from the welding of the last video. Yep, I've not ground it off yet, but I just wanted to see the lengths, see where my bonnet's going to finish. I'm not 100% sure about that bit yet, but I'm going to replace all of this metal and get that looking nice, get the strength into it, and then work out from there where I'm going to finish the metal. So I'll do that now. There's only one good place for rust. Everything's cut out, and that place for rust is on the floor, and then in this scrap pile. Just cut it all out. Hard to see. Cut it all out. I've got a little bit in there which I'll get to once I've took the body off, and then I'll do that. But for now I'm going to concentrate on the outside here. So I've got to pick up these 2 points here, which is the body mounts for the front. There's no more body mounts across the front there, so they put 2 bolts in here. I'll put a plate here which will tie up into this end of this, and then all the body work will work off of that one way or another. So I'm going to just mock up and start putting stuff back in and get it cut. Well, I decided to take the bars out that were across the doors, and then I'm going to get that edge set. So I've set this edge and just tack welded it in place about 3mm, 4mm. It's quite a close edge, but I quite like it. And then I'm going to set this edge the same, and then just push that post to line up with the door as well. I'm using this serrage line here as my sort of datum for the door to make sure everything lines up. And then I can replace this piece of steel down to the floor. I've got some more door repair or A-pillar repair panels which I'm going to put in there, and that'll repair that, and then that can tie up to this bit of metal, and then I'll set all of that height and the distance and everything be square, and then I'll work this way around that body. So I'm going to do that next. Now that everything's cut out, I'm going to get the height of the door set as well, get that sort of cut. If I cut it 1/2 inch long, I can then bend that back in, and that'll be a door return for the drips and stuff like that, like a factory door. So I'll mark that up and do that next. This door is full of filler, so there'll be a lot of sanding now. Just starting to think about the shape that I want down here. I think I'm going to continue this line on that the factory put in to the edge of the door, and then I'm just taking out this strengthener piece, which you've got to drill all of the spot welds out and then pull. So we'll get all the spot welds out, and then going to replace that with a nice piece of steel all the way down to there and get rid of that whole panel. So I just thought I'd let you see. You got to take your time, drill it out, pull it off, and then you're left with a little hole which you can bob up with weld. Try not to go all the way through, but that's where I'm at now. Right, that's the design I've come up with. I'm going to plate this over. That'll be very strong both sides, and then I made a place for the bolt, SM16, to go through to hold the front end on. I'll make a couple of spacer washers to get the spacing just right in the middle, and then all of this will get seam welded to the body, so making that whole front end quite strong. And then I'll replace this bit of steel going over the top, and then the body work from here to there, and cover it all up. So you should only see the entry point just here for the frame. I'll tie that in then to down there and to across here when I put that reinforcing steel back into the front of the car, so it'll all be tied in together. I'm quite happy with that, or how it's coming out, and I'll get on with some more of that once I've been to the shops and got a drink, because I'm gasping. Yep, I think I need another disc cutter. Right, I've got the brace in place, so I've welded all of this side, and obviously I've not welded the other side inside yet, but I've welded all the outside and give myself a nice strong A-pillar. I'm going to put this piece of steel in, put the bodywork piece of steel on the outside, make that look nice, and see if I'm happy with that. But I'm happy with the fixing, so then I can do the inside at a later date. Still got to put some strengthening at the bottom, but I'll do that next. But it's getting there, looking a bit better, looking strong. I'm just making the template for the body panel. One of the cheapest way of doing it is just masking tape and get your shape you want and the form, and then when you take the tape off you can transfer it to metal, but make sure it's good and thick, because it will just curl up and go all over the bloody place. So it gives you a rough size, so I would say leave a little bit extra for you to bend, shape, do what you want, but if you've got a little bit extra, at least you've got a really good shape. So that's my shape. I'll transfer that to metal, put my bends in it, and then show you what that looks like. That's the panel going in. Quite happy with the shape. I've got a tiny bit up here to sort out, but I'll sort that out later. Inner panel's getting repaired as well. Leaves me with a nice straight edge to follow over to there to get that repair panel put in. I think it's going to look nice. I've got quite a bit of trimming to do on the door. I've decided not to use this door. It's full of filler, so I'll scrap that door and get another one. I've been using it to line up this panel. It's really nice here, and then sort of bellies out a little bit there, and it's almost like the door has had a clout, and then they've just filled it to death to sort of sort that out. But that's enough for now. Sun's just going down. Had enough. Done a whole day, so I'm going home.